Hi guys, I'm Dr. Robin Berzin, the founder and CEO of Parsley Health, and as some of you may know, I am pregnant. I'm in my second trimester, and I am going to talk to you today a little bit about the lab testing that we do during pregnancy. So we don't advertise this, but we do a lot of fertility and pregnancy support at Parsley Health, and we have literally incredible case studies and stories of patients and members here who have come told that they would need IVF to get pregnant, having had multiple miscarriages, and have really helped them optimize their hormones and optimize their fertility and help them get pregnant on their own, which is so gratifying. We also, of course, refer to some of the best reproductive endocrinologists across all of the places we work, New York, LA, San Francisco, and so we're tapped in there too. But I'm just personally, as I'm working on my second baby here at age 38, I'm personally really attached to this issue because I've seen too often women told that they can't get pregnant on their own, that they need IVF, that they need IUI and some of these services. And the reality is just not always true. And we don't do enough of what I call looking under the hood in medicine around women's health. We don't do enough of asking why. We don't say, why are your periods irregular? We don't say, you've been on the pill for 10 years and you've come off and your cycle's irregular and you're having PMS. Why? We don't say, why are you having trouble getting pregnant or having miscarriages? And a lot of times it comes down to things like blood sugar, thyroid health, imbalances in progesterone, stress, inactivity, overactivity. So there's just so much we can do, and that's how we've had some of these success stories, and you can read about some of them on our blog. But today I'm going to talk you through some of the labs that we test for. So we have at Parsley Health a pregnancy panel, and we typically run it at our first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. And you might say, well, I'm pregnant and I'm seeing my OB a lot and I'm getting all these tests and all these ultrasounds. If you're lucky enough to have good prenatal care, which not everybody is, but if you are, you're probably going through the ringer and you're sick of it. But what happens during pregnancy is that you have to remember that most of the tests that you're undergoing, from the genetic testing that you might do to the blood work that you're doing, it's mostly looking at baby. It's not really looking at you. And so what we find is that during pregnancy, a lot of our moms are kind of actually left out in the cold a little bit. They're really not supported when it comes to their health. If they get sick, if they have other conditions that are concomitant that they're dealing with around mental health or other autoimmune diseases, heart health, these things just don't get addressed during pregnancy. It's kind of like all the focus is on baby, right? And so at Parsley, we are like, well, we're your doctor and we're here for you, while your OB and your prenatal care are really focused on making sure we're growing a healthy baby, which is important too. So we don't replace that, but we do something else. So we have this pregnancy panel. We do first, second, and third trimester. I just ordered my labs in my beginning of my second trimester, kind of mid-second trimester, end of last month. So we're in September now. So I did these at the very end of August. How many weeks was I then? Maybe around like 19 or 20. And I am looking at some things that I really care about. So first of all, I'm looking at my electrolytes. I'm looking at kidney and liver function because these are things we always want to check in on. I'm looking at my blood glucose level and making sure that that's not too high because that can be an early indicator of gestational diabetes. I'm looking at my blood counts. So blood counts are important. So what we get in pregnancy is we get a dilutional anemia. So I see that my red blood cell count, my hemoglobin, and my hematocrit are all low. And that's really normal in pregnancy because we take on a lot of volume in our blood. We take on extra fluid everywhere. You probably are feeling this for some of you with the swollen ankles or the puffy face, but we take it on in our bloodstream too. And so we actually create what's called a dilutional anemia. And that's quite normal, but we track that because that can become a true anemia. And what we don't want to see is anemia going into labor and delivery at the end of your pregnancy. We want to tank that up. So most prenatals, our Parsley prenatal contains a good load of iron. Sometimes at Parsley, based on your lab results, we'll actually recommend additional iron on top of your prenatal, especially in that last trimester, to make sure that dilutional anemia and functional anemia are not getting too extreme. Because you have to remember, the reason that there's iron in your prenatal is that you might not be taking normally Even though you're not menstruating during pregnancy, you need extra iron because baby's using iron. So that's why we want to really check these levels. So I have this dilutional anemia. I'm not too worried about it, but I do need to track it. And I do need to look based on these results. My hemoglobin's a 10. That's getting down there. So it's time for me to make sure that I'm taking my extra iron on top of my prenatal. So this is a good flag for me. Okay, the other things we're looking at are hemoglobin A1c. So we're looking at our blood sugar balance that looks at a 3-month window. That's how we diagnose diabetes. Mine is a 5.0. Hells yes, it's awesome, nice and low. So no indications of blood sugar issues there. I'm also looking at thyroid. In pregnancy, we want our thyroid levels to be, our TSH, to be max of 2.5. And if we see it creeping up over that, we are often giving you thyroid hormone or thyroid support in order to support a healthy pregnancy. This is something we in the OBs tend to agree on, or we do agree on. So for me, my TSH in my first trimester was 2.0, so I'm looking at my old labs, and then in these new labs, my TSH is 1.48, so I'm sailing. I'm right where I need to be. I don't need thyroid support. Then I'm looking at my ferritin. The first time I did this in my first trimester, it was 39. Now it's down to 27. That's my iron storage. That's how much, like, if you had a freezer in your garage, sort of like the extra frozen meat that you keep for a rainy day. I'm kind of starting to go through that. I'm kind of running out of iron stores. So I know that not only is my anemia getting legit, although it is dilutional, so I'm not that worried about it, but I'm seeing that my iron stores are trying to lower. So I have 2 flags now that I'm gonna add extra iron on top of my prenatal earlier in my pregnancy than I might have otherwise. I'm also looking at my vitamin D, which is 52. Beautiful, is 52 last time, right on the nose. So I'm really good about taking my vitamin D3 K2 drops, which we have at Parsley. I love mine, I just put them right in my mouth. And that's really important for supporting immunity, especially when I have a little one at home and I really don't have time right now to get a cold, let's be real. What else am I looking at? I'm looking at my vitamin B12 level. So we want to keep our vitamin B12 and our folate levels in good stead. Mine's getting lower. It's down to 314. So I'm going to confess something to you guys. I am not always as good as taking my prenatal as I should be. Some days I'll do our Rebuild protein shake from Parsley because it has a multivitamin in it, including my methylated B vitamins, but they're not the same quantity as the prenatal. Parsley's prenatal, and this is important, there's a lot of prenatals on the market that are really low quality. There's a lot who are really also low quantity. So the actual density of the nutrients you're getting, and we hear basic, basic, basic. We want the most simple prenatal. No, you want the one that has the good amount of the good stuff that's gonna work, okay? So I need to be a little bit better about taking mine and getting my B vitamins up. My magnesium level is looking good. My blood mercury is nice and low. My blood lead level is undetectable. We also want to check heavy metal exposure during pregnancy. And my RBC folate level is looking beautiful. So just might need a little bit of extra B12. And then my iodine looks great too. So all in all, my labs are looking great, with the exception of I need to make sure I'm taking my prenatals regularly to make sure I'm getting enough of my iron and enough of my B12. And then I'm gonna actually add some extra iron on top. So this is the panel, this is the Parsley pregnancy panel. It's something that you should have, and if you're a member here, we love to do it ideally 3 times during pregnancy, but at least twice during the course, because we know you have a lot going on, but it allows us to check in on you. Okay, thank you, bye.